Welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management, a weekly conversation with area leaders about how to persevere during uncertain times. Now here's your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times. And you know what? We all look around, we listen to the news, we see all the things taking place on the national level, and then all of that's one thing, but when things happen back in our communities, here in Kansas, here in Hays, it's always good to see those people that get the job done and the great people we have that, whether it be in Hays, Salina, any of our communities, great people that actually get the work done. And with me is one of those people, and that's Kris Munsch. And Kris is going to be part of a great program that's coming up. But Kris, first off, thanks for taking your time today. Not only are you an entrepreneur in many different businesses, but you're a person of my own heart with a builder. You like to build things and doing this. Tell me what you're building now, and then we'll get into some of the programs coming up that you may want to be taking a part in. What are you building, Kris?
Oh man, we've got a lot going on. I'm winding down on my cabin finally after 14 months. Never spent a night there, but keep imagining someday I'll spend a night there. I've got a car sitting on a trailer back in the warehouse that I'm pretty positive my wife doesn't even know that's back there yet. I kind of snuck it back there and hid it. So
Barns are good for that, aren't they?
There's a lot of stuff going on.
What I found out, Kris, you just don't want to put everything in a row, because when you put it all in a row, then Marianne can go back and count them, And so, okay, here's what you have here going on. So, got to keep them in multiple barns. Anyway, Kris, you have some fun stuff coming up. We want to talk about a book you've written, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first off, when you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be in the leadership side of things, there's some programs out there that can help get you started. You and I were talking before about the work that it takes to be able to be an entrepreneur and what you do and how you have to decide how hard you want to work and the lifestyle you want to have with you, your family, and others before you do these kind of projects. But Grow Hays has a network in the Kansas E-Community Partnership, and they have a program called Think Like an Entrepreneur. How did this all get started, Kris?
Well, it's funny because Doug Williams down there called me one day and he said, "Hey, we're bringing in somebody to teach Ice House, and I'm calling around to find some people out there that entrepreneurs, non-entrepreneurs, to kind of get in this class and see what it's all about." And Ice House is all about a mindset. It's not about business plans. It's not about going to the bank. It's not about any of those things. It's all about the mindset of an entrepreneur, and what it's all about, like the commitment level and what it is. And so I knew personally when I started that class, within a couple of weeks, I knew I was like, man, this is a class I'd love to teach. And I believe we're on I'd have to ask for sure, but I think this coming up will be in September, will be my 4th year to teach it. And we always get between 15 to 20 people to come in, and every week there's a topic, and that topic is based around a mindset and what that mindset takes. And there's probably points in that it's an 8-week course. And we just share our visions and our journeys and our lives and our experiences. It's really a cool program.
Well, what I see, and we'll talk about what it takes to get in there, but I'm sure there's room today if somebody wants to call down to Grow Hays, talk to Doug, get in the program and do that. But when I'm looking at the format of this, the background of it, it's not only for people who are thinking about starting a business, but I think it's anybody that gets into business and they're going, boy, we're not growing as fast as we want. I'm frustrated with something, that you can sit down with other people doing the same thing and go through this program. And I think it'll open your eyes as to what the next steps are that you need to be doing and help you maybe rethink like an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think every business owner, I don't care if they've been doing it, 1 year or 40 years, they needed to, I think it's good for them to remind themselves why they're doing what they're doing, and why they react the way they react, and why they think the way they're thinking. And there's a whole nother side of it is when you talk about succession planning, and who's going to take over your business, because we all want somebody to just come walk in our door and cut us a big check. And that's so rare that happens. I mean, it's like a unicorn, but the reality is if you are a business owner and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, in 5 years, 10 years, 3 years, I want to start thinking about, getting out and retiring or going to something new. Do you have an employee that you look at and say, gosh, I think this person should, do they even know if they have what it's going to take to do it? The work is easy. Right? We've talked about the vans, the extraction machines, the equipment, the dehumidifiers, they're on and off. You operate them. It's the challenge to bring that all together. As soon as we've talked about it, you involve one human being into a process, there's complication. And you involve 2, 3, 4, 5, now all these walks of life, different perspectives, different things. And I think that's what Ice House does. It exposes those things, and we talk about those things. We've had every walk of life in there. People that are not even sure they want to start a business, they just want to take the class. So, it's really about you as a person.
You're a certified teacher of this. How did you get to your certification for Think Like an Entrepreneur in the Ice House program? Because it says you're certified. So we could all talk about what that actually means, but you're certified to teach this class.
Well, I think the best, the certification part of it is, you go online and do a couple of Zoom meetings, and you learn a little bit about the process and how it works and all those things. And then you become certified. I think the certification is in the background, and the certified crazy and certified, I think when you wake up some morning, you really realize you should wear the coat that straps in the back, not in the front. That they're all qualified to teach this class. Trust me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's cool, Gary, is if you came in and took that class, and with all your experience, it's not about Kris is up here as the teacher and he's teaching it, and you're down here as the student. We come in all together. We're all at the same level. I'm simply there to facilitate conversation.
There's a book that goes along with this, is Who Owns the Ice House? And so I'm sure people could pick that up online and do that as well to kind of get a background on doing this. But pricing wise, this is not expensive. I mean, if you had somebody come in and a consultant come in, it's thousands of dollars to help kind of do the same thing. But this is really only $150. If you're a student, it's only $75, and there's an early bird discount of $100. So for $100, you can do an 8-week course. Talk about business, talk about what you're doing, you mentioned succession planning, and just came back from an employee ownership meeting where we talked a lot about how many owners can transition to that kind of thing. So there's all sorts of opportunities that owners of businesses, entrepreneurs should be thinking about. And this class allows you to cover that.
Yeah. And I always tell everybody, first up, there's great food. Like every week we get a really good meal. So worst case scenario, you don't have to cook for 8 weeks and your food is free. So you're really getting the class for nothing.
Good. Well, let's talk a little bit of the follow-up from that. Last time we discussed how you can get trapped in your business.
Yeah.
If somebody feels like this, is this an opportunity for them to say, hey, maybe I ought to look at it, step outside, talk to some other people who are there, and say maybe how what they did? Because that's what I come away when I go to sessions like this. You come away with kind of a list of ideas that really help you step outside your business and look back inside. How do you do that? Because sometimes you're so involved and, every day is an adventure. How do you step outside and step away to say, hey, I need to look at this maybe a little differently?
Well, the simple question is am I working in my business or am I working on my business, right? They are two different worlds. And there are times I love working in my business. I want to get in there and get dirty and do it and participate in it. But there are times to step away. That's why I have other projects. That is what I'm thinking about when I'm out working on the cabin or working on an old car or driving to go do a home inspection, because that's a different world than restore and clean. Or while I'm at restore and clean, I'm thinking about, doing a home inspection or no pests and pest control, and how does that all flow together? So you just, what I love about the class is you create a camaraderie with your other classmates, and everybody talks, and whether you have experience in or don't have experience in business, it does not matter. What matters is you're spending that time communicating with people that are like-minded, in the idea that they're processing entrepreneurship and what is it. And that's it's 8 weeks of therapy for me, right? Because I got to go in there and talk about it. And when I'm talking about it, I'm listening to myself. And then the question is how do I hold myself accountable?
Well, all of that makes sense, but if you're not going to participate, maybe you don't care enough. I mean, that's if somebody's out there, if you really want to grow, really want to improve yourself for a business, it's a great opportunity to do it. Only $100 if you have the early bird discount. There's limits on the number of people to do that. Call Doug Williams down at Grow Hayes, and they'll help you get signed up for that or put you on the waiting list, because I do know many years there's been a waiting list to be able to get in and be able to talk about that. So with that said, Kris, you do. And I'm not sure, you mentioned you like getting dirty and doing that. Which do you like best? The getting dirty part or the thinking about getting dirty part?
Well, I think you can only think about getting dirty so much, and then you just got to go out and get dirty and do it, right? Because the sweat equity is real. The sweat that you put into your business, your idea, your anything you do, your relationships, it's the sweat you put into it. And that's one of the things we talk about in there is how many people stop short of the sweat equity and the actual step it takes to do it, right? You can line 40 people up against, put a target on their back and line 40 people up against the wall, and nobody can be a victim, right? Nobody can be targeted. The second somebody takes a step forward, there you can see the X, and now you can start talking about them, and now you can start saying things. Gosh, we see that every day on social media right now, right? Every housing development in Hayes and every Airbnb, and they're all being attacked. And gosh, but who's stepping up with the ideas, right? Who's going to fix this? And that's what you're waiting for. It's easy to talk about it. It is very difficult to take that step.
One of the new projects going on in the Hayes area right now is the Bob and Pat Schmidt Community Center. And community is so important. And, you hear people talking about pluses and minuses, where it is, a housing product. But you drive by, and if you have an open mind about, okay, things are going to be different tomorrow than they are today, this is one of those projects that's going to make a difference in Hayes for so many people, whether it be the seniors, whether it be parents that drop off kids, or whether it's be people that just use the community center as a way to get their family or their business or other people together. It's just going to be a great project together, but you have to take that step to do it. And I will say the Grow Hayes group, Doug Williams, that team, have put together some great projects to get started, and this is one of those. So, Kris, we're talking about a lot of things. Call Doug Williams, Grow Hayes, talk about getting into the program. Kris, if you were to say, sum it up in one or two words, what does the program do? I know it's talked about from the book of Who Owns the Ice House, but what does that mean for somebody to sign up? Just a couple of words that help them understand what this program is about.
It's about change in thinking. It's simple. If you are pondering change in your life, and I'm talking change in any direction, and if you want to come in and be challenged to think, that's what it's all about. That's what we do.
Kris, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about a book you've been working on. Of all the things you do, it's like, boy, now you're working on a book. You have that finished. I think maybe even you're working on your second book at this point. I want to talk about that when we come back from our break. Our program is brought to you by Worth Wealth Management. We'll be back after this.
Since 1776, the United States of America continues to stand tall. It's been tested before, many times. Through grit and the ability to move forward, we create better tomorrows. We help our clients live their best lives to and through retirement. We make it easier. Thank you, Kansas. Worth Wealth Management, enhancing lives and strengthening families.
Welcome back to Forward Ever, leading in challenging times. And we have one of those leaders we've been talking to. We've had a series of programs talking about entrepreneurship. And today we talked about the program that's taking place down at Fort Hayes, or actually at the Grow Hayes area, and their building down there, and talking about how you can make a better decision as an employee, as an entrepreneur, and being able to put things together to grow your business. Kris is still here. And Kris, we left going to the break talking about your new book. How did you get this book idea in place?
Well, it's so the first book I wrote, The Birdhouse Project, is all about attaching steps of recovery, basically, right? I'd lost my son in a car accident. So how do you go, what are this, they talk about the stages of grief and all this stuff. And it was kind of funny. I was sitting there talking to the assistant principal at Bonner Springs High School, Joe, and I saw this book laying on his desk, and I saw his name on it. And he played football for KU. And I am like, what is this? And he said, oh, it's a book I wrote. And I go out and present on it. And I literally spoke, holy moly, if you can write a book, I can too. And he just kind of sat there looking at me like, what? And I'm like, it gave me the confidence, the target on your back, Gary. The second you step up and put it in writing or you speak it, you are, like my mom always says, don't put anything on social media and you're not going to be attacked. But that is not leadership, right? We're going to have those people no matter what we do. And so the Birdhouse Project is something I did, 14 years ago, I think. Traveled the country. And coming this December will be the 20th anniversary of my son Blake's death. And I thought, what could I do to honor that, right? I don't live for my son, but what could I do to honor that? And so I started pondering that idea of, could I take what I've learned in 20 years and put it into words? And we're talking to a guy here that's flunked English comp twice at Fort Hays. So I started writing.
I understand.
Yeah. It's not I can write. I just, the twos and twos don't matter to me, but you got to get a good editor. That's what you got to do. And so I started pondering the idea, this is when you're working, when you're in the book writing, you're writing. And then when you're on the outside of it, thinking about it, you're working on it. And so I came up with 12. I've taught entrepreneurship enough that I know that people get stuck. So 12 chapters, it's called The Razor's Edge, that fine line we all walk, right? Whether it's in business, whether it's in life, it's in relationships, it does not matter. We walk a fine line. And there's 12 lessons about being bold and being the voice, stepping up and taking that step. You read part of a chapter, you read a chapter, and at the end there's a lesson. And that lesson makes you actively get out of your chair and participate. And it's like running a table saw. We can talk about running a table saw all day long. But if I show you and give you a board and set that saw and you run the table saw, it's a different experience, hands down.
You know what? It's going to be exciting to read this book because I know what heart you put into this and what did that. So it comes out in December. And that's one of the, how are you publishing that? Because that becomes the next step of being able to publish that. And you've already been through it once, so you probably have that down. But it's just an interesting project to me, Kris. Another thing that you're doing to help build things, and you're just building a book.
Yeah, it's no different than Restore and Clean, No Pest, home inspecting. It's just steps in a process, right? You got to you got to come up with the chapters. Now you got to write the chapter. I mean, it's literally no different than going into a sewage loss, right? We got to get the crap off the floor. We got to clean it's just steps. It's steps. And everything I've written has been written before. And that's one of the things you question yourself when you start. Why am I doing this when this has been written 1,000 times? Well, it comes down to perspective, which goes back to Ice House, right? When you look at Ice House and my perspective is not going to be the participant's perspective, and their perspective is not my perspective, but you bring all those perspectives together and you start processing that. So why can't I write a book? Why can't I talk about my experiences over the 20 years, my struggles and successes and what's helped me and hurt me? So that's what kept me going, kept me motivated to keep writing. I've got a 20th anniversary coming up of Blake's death, and I'm just bound and determined that it's going to be out in print. And here's the other thing. The second I put a price on that and you pay me for that book, then I'm I am now vulnerable to criticism. And man, that is business. That is business. And you got to have that courage. It's not about I don't care. When people say, I don't care what people think, that's bull. Everybody cares what other people think. And I don't care how much experience you have. It can affect people. It can affect everyone down to the core.
Well, Kris, appreciate you being on the program here today. And I'm going to actually look for a free book. I hope I get a free book from you so I can do this. So I don't actually have to buy one, but be happy to do that. I want a signature copy of it myself because I know the effort it takes. One, you have to get started, and then it's one chapter and the next chapter. And it sounds like it's easy to do. It's hard work, and just another one of those things that really puts you in a special class of entrepreneurs. For those out there listening, Kris, you and I have done a series of these programs about entrepreneurship. If you want to go and listen to the earlier programs or any of our Forward Ever programs, you can jump on to Hayes Post and go in the search bar and type in Forward Ever. Or you can type in Shorm and it'll list out all the programs that you and I have done. And being able to go back and listen to those things as well. But I also encourage you, if you want to be a better manager, a better leader, a better person, to sign up for the Think Like an Entrepreneur program. And that's going to start on September 17th and run for 8 weeks. And it's really, if you sign up early, I think it's $100, late is $150, but there is a limit of people there. Kris, thanks for taking the time to teach that and being a part of that. Appreciate that. And thanks for your leadership and entrepreneurship and those things you do here in Hayes.
Can't wait to see you next month. It's fun. I enjoy it.
I love it too. Kris Munsch is our guest today on Forward Ever. Thank you for listening. And thank you to Worth Wealth Management for supporting this program. The program is brought to you by Worth Wealth. I'm Gary Shorman. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us for Forward Ever, Leading in Challenging Times, presented by Worth Wealth Management. Join us right here next week for another episode with host Gary Shorman. Until then, remember to move forward ever, backward never.